Hail, hail, the Celts are here, and what the hell do we care now? We're off to Easter Road where real football's played, where real men competing for real trophies as we look to go further clear ahead in our domestic dominance in pursuit of the last thing that we're really looking to tick off the list of the incredible season that we've had so far, and that is the old domestic treble. We need to, we don't really need to do anything, to be honest with you, but the standards and everything else that's been set at the club this year, you just know the winning machine is going to be kicking back into gear this weekend, and it's maybe a bit of a victory lap feeling. It feels like coming into this game, a bit of a homecoming for the Warriors, back from Germany as it were, to maybe bookend this little kind of season, this little chapter of the season, because the European adventure has been great. 10 Champions League games and so much progression and so much of a new Celtic that we've seen on the tides of Europe as it were. And I've just got this feeling, like I said after the Bayern Munich game, that we're not going to lose another game domestically. So coming into this one, it is back to business for Brendan and the boys, and in the video today we're going to be trying to predict the starting 11 as well as what else we might see come out of this game, because the squad is super thin and it really did go against us a bit in the Bayern Munich match. But when we come back to domestic action, it quickly feels that we have really good depth, and even still with the injury to Bernardo and James Forrest and really just whatever else is going on in the squad as well, there may be some openings here for some some cameos, some new faces perhaps as well, maybe a few other bits and bobs in between at any point in the video today. If you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Get into the comment section in this one, of course. I want to see score predictions for the game. I want to see man of the match shouts, as well as any big takeaways or any big bold predictions that you want to make. Don't forget, when you're on the internet, it's all about where your receipts are kept in the comment section on the Celts Are Here channel, as well. A lot of boys and girls from around the world love to leave their receipts on. I called the scoreline. I knew he was going to run the show, or I knew he was going to be first goal scorer, or whatever it might be. The comment section has always been on fire. I'm looking forward to checking it out after this one. But yeah, let's just get stuck straight into it. Because like I was kind of babbling about there in the intro, like we're at this kind of part where like the European adventure's done. We've already got one cup in the bag. It feels like the league is all but done and dusted. It's about how quickly we can win the league, so we can just start the party atmosphere and start really rubbing their faces in it. As well as, of course, we've got the Scottish Cup going along quite nicely, as you would expect. But it feels like this Hibs game is going to like kind of finish off. Like I said, it's kind of like victory lap feeling from the European adventure. It's everyone coming home. The away section's always good, no matter where we're going to Scotland, but in Easter Road, it's always a good atmosphere there, and the boys normally put on a bit of a show. If we look at the squad coming into this, you'll notice I've put a few more white dots on this than I have done in recent weeks, and I've put in what I kind of recognise for the most part as being the better team, the better B team players that we've got in midfield, from the limited exposure that I've got to the B team from watching the home Champions League games for the Celts Are Here. And big props, by the way, I don't know who it was, but someone over at Axom came up with Schlupdog is the name for Jeff, so I'm definitely running with that, and I'm looking forward to seeing this on the board and the banter that comes off the back of old Schlupdog here. But really, when you zoom out and look at the squad, with the injury to Bernardo and to Forrest, and as I say with the whole defence situation here, there's not really like oodles of choice. The majority of the best 11 played the full 90 minutes at the Allianz Arena at Bayern Munich. Of course, Kuhn came off injured and Jota came off as well. But otherwise, the whole back four played the 90 minutes. The whole midfield three played the 90 minutes. And it does feel that Brendan has been managing the squad all the way through the season to compete on all fronts. That pressure after this game is going to be completely relieved, and really at that point we could see some sort of tactical development, or maybe some of the young players who are maybe earning their stripes, earning their hoops, and maybe get back on the bench. Jude Bonner was on the bench in the Allianz Arena. We've seen Turley in and amongst the squad as well, and Kyle Uhr just got a new contract extension recently. All three of these guys done really well in the Youth Champions League, and I think for the most part in the B team are quite important players. And I've been a fan of all three of them. By the way, all three of them really good. Turley likes to be a bit more of an attacking midfielder, joining the front line. The boy Bonner is maybe a bit similar to like an O'Reilly or an Engels. He's got a bit of a bigger stature, plays longer passes, and kind of does get all over the pitch as well without being like lightning quick. And Uhr is like the deep line playmaker of the three. Has a bit more of a tackle on him than is traditional, I would say, between the midfielders that we've got here. And I don't think he's been on the bench yet, but I say he has just signed a new contract recently. And when you add in McKeown into that, and the three midfielders that all played the 90 minutes against Bayern Munich, as well as have played all these guys have been ever present all the way throughout the season. The midfield has got some interesting question marks over it, as well as the front line and the defence. And I think defence is probably the easiest place to start with, because I do think for the most part, Brendan's probably going to keep with the same defence that played against Bayern Munich. I don't think Scales is going to come in for this one, or Ralston. But the left-back situation is one where I'm really undecided on, right? Because with Greg Taylor apparently on latest reporting being quite close to signing with Dinamo Zagreb, Jeffrey Schlupp is on loan, had done really well in the few appearances he's had so far. And he, by all accounts, is playing for a contract, is playing for his future. So it'll be interesting, really, to see ultimately what Brendan does do. It's hard to know exactly where the players are. Like, I wouldn't be surprised one bit if Taylor did come back in for this game and it was like a midweek weekend rotation. Because right after going away to Easter Road, we are at home to Aberdeen. So I wouldn't be surprised if he still kept maybe one more kind of flex week there before the fixture list really does level back out again. And I don't think there's many more midweeks to go after this. Just depends on when Scottish Cup games are kind of scheduled in, but everything else is weekend action thereafter. Because Schlupp doesn't have much minutes in his legs. Like, if you think about like Taylor and Vickers and Alistair Johnson, they've played 30, 40 games this season, whereas Jeffrey Schlupp is nowhere near that. So even though he's not like completely like we've been noticing with Jota, not totally like match sharp, as it were, it's not as if he's carrying like a lot of burden, a lot of fatigue from earlier in the season. So, you know, the only way to get that match sharpness is by playing, you know. So I think Schlupp's got a really strong chance of starting it, but when I do see that the Aberdeen game is like 3 days later, I could see him maybe just being painted into that pattern of letting Taylor start away to Easter Road, Jeffrey Schlupp comes off the bench, then we get Schlupp to start against Aberdeen, and then maybe for the foreseeable for the remainder of the season, maybe it is Schlupp's audition time until such times maybe we give Greg Taylor his kind of cameo, his kind of victory lap at the end of the season if he is going to depart on a free one. So I think ultimately this will be the way the defence goes. Schmeichel, the big green clean sheet machine, will be looking to get another clean sheet in this one, and I don't think there's any reason to imagine the rest of the defence be rotated. I did kind of gander into midfield earlier before talking the defence because of the guys that really I would expect to see one or two of them on the bench. You know, if you think about the guys we just deleted off screen here already, we had Schlupp, we had Scales, we had Ralston. That's 3 guys for the bench already. A goalkeeper. Johnny Kenny isn't going to start this game, of course, so he would be on the bench. So that's how many we got on the bench there. 5. Yang would be 6. Yeah, actually, the bench might be quite full coming into this. I thought that, you know, there might be a wee opportunity for one of these guys to come in, but when you start to paint it out by numbers, yeah, it's probably going to be okay domestically. Like I was saying, it did feel very thin against Bayern, but when you come back domestically, it does feel that you know, like the depth that we've got is going to be somewhat good enough. We can take Kenny off screen now. So I do think the next big question is midfield, you know, and I guess that's why I was really thinking about those B team midfielders, because like normally I would expect McKeown to come back in for Hatate, and in which case we'll see Engels on the left of midfield, which has been his most effective position, I would say, and McKeown on the right. But the last couple of times when I've expected that rotation to happen, he's played the 3 wee guy midfield, where he's played Hatate, McKeown and McGregor. But I don't know, I just feel that Hatate is probably due the rotation out in Engels to get the next start in a row kind of thing, with McKeown coming back in to relieve some pressure and Hatate probably coming off the bench. But I do think you're going to want an opportunity ahead of the Aberdeen game to maybe not give Engels and McGregor 90 minutes, which again is why I'm thinking about that B team midfield, because the bench we just laid out a moment ago, we're talking goalkeeper, Scales, Ralston, Schlupp. Maybe we don't actually need Ralston on the bench, because if we've got Yang and Kenny, 6, that's only 1 spot left, and then we've got a forward here to take off. So yeah, maybe Ralston, Scales, I'd probably say Ralston. Maybe Ralston won't make the bench this weekend in favour of a young midfielder, so that's something to maybe watch out for and think about. Could Yang start this game? I'm not too sure. I doubt it, to be honest with you. I think Adam Ida is going to come back into the starting lineup, and it's probably going to be for Nicholas Kuhn, who did come off the Bayern game with a bit of a knock. I think Jota will be on to start this one again, having came off 60, 70 minutes, whatever it was in the match. And, you know, between Dyson and Kuhn, I wouldn't be surprised if actually Yang did start and both these guys went to the bench for a bit of a rest, bit of a breather. But I really don't think with the season Dyson's having that he is going to get a breather or a break. I think it'll be Kuhn that will be returned to the bench, and this will be the front 3 that we start with. And Julie, it's just that lack of midfield depth. It's just the only thing I can't really paint myself into thinking about how this match will pan out. I think, like I mentioned at the tip-off in the intro of the video, this is going to be a great one for Celtic to really put a show on, and I do think that as much as there will be a bit of fatigue, we did play it on Tuesday night. Now, being the early kickoff on Saturday probably isn't ideal, but, you know, it's better than having played Wednesday night. It's just that extra day in the middle, and I think the majority of the guys will be right up for it and want to pick up where they've left off and really keep the season going in the fashion it has. Keep that standard set from the Champions League, impose it domestically, and really make the most of it. And I think if this is the sort of team that we're going to be starting, there's certainly goals from the beginning here. Adam Idah, will he have a point to prove, having not played away at the Allianz Arena? I think he might. I think there's a goal or two in this game for him, and as we've seen already, Johnny Kenny might get some minutes, but it's not a guarantee. And Adam Idah can get 70 or 80 minutes in a match like this, so he could be on to score 1 or 2 in this one. I fancy Jota to be in amongst it, like a dug-eating beetroot in this one, because that's probably the biggest match he's played for us, of course, in his first stint at the club. Like the best thing he'd done was like the free kick against Real Madrid, which was a bit of a non-thing, wasn't it? So great contributions from Jota in that match. He'll probably be feeling on cloud 9. What a stark contrast, the situation he is now in, like today, that he finds himself versus like 7 weeks ago, you know, really. Like, so I think he's going to be his best self, similar to Dyson. I thought he put in a great shift. He's coming out this season with plaudits, is now the main man. And like we've been kind of saying on this channel for a long time, it has felt that Dyson has got another level to go up, and maybe just with the slight difference in dynamic within the squad now, he's really coming into his own, and he's been the main man this season. He has player of the season so far by a long way, Dyson Maeda, and there's no way you can't imagine him getting involved in the score sheet here. So I can see like this front line, this midfield, producing 3 or 4 goals on its own. Never mind then bringing on Yang and Kuhn, Kenny, Hatate, Schlupp, that kind of amount of subs, those types of subs as well. It could end up a real rout. You know, we could score this could be our highest scoring game of the season, potentially, if that Champions League feel-good factor really does get brought into the game here. Looking at Hibs' form coming into this, there's not been anything to suggest that they're whipping boys or they're really on their knees at the moment. If anything, they're actually finding a good bit of form. But we normally do so well at Easter Road. We haven't scored 5 goals at Easter Road since 2019. The last time we scored 4 was in 2022. So when actually looking at the form that we've got coming into this, I maybe just remembering it a little bit differently than reality here, but I think it's time to break that run of form. I think, I'm going to go for 5-0 to Celtic on this one. Don't forget to leave your comments down below, guys. On screen are now some other stuff that we've made on the channel that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. Hail, hail, and Moan the Hoops.